Sean, what's happening, my friend?
Hey, ready for another week? We got I got Monday out of the way at work and ready to win some bets now.
You're fortunate. You work somewhere, and me, I work at home. So there's no line between work and home for me. So when you get home, you can put your feet up. You can talk about sports. You can go pop a beer. But you don't drink beer, so you can pop a diet Coke, whatever it is that you drink. For me, work is always calling. I'm always down in my prison, behind my prison window in my dungeon. I always have something to do. So there's no delineation between work and home for me.
I
That's one of the drawbacks. And the thing about COVID is everybody probably has that understanding now. Whereas before, when I would tell people I work from home, they'd be like, "Oh, how lucky are you?" And I'd be like, "Well, there's pluses and minuses."
I hear it all the time, and I have first-hand experience because Hillary works home and she also takes care of my son. When I'm not here, so she's got multiple jobs at one time, and she'll always say that she goes in the office one day a week. So at least that started with COVID. She was home all the time. Now she at least gets out of the house one day a week to get out of these walls.
Yeah, I'm not allowed out of the house. I'm chained down just in my dungeon behind my prison window. But it was an interesting weekend of sports. The Milwaukee Bucks, Phoenix Suns. My Lord, the Suns. I think what is it, about 3,000? Well, I won't go there, but choking. Can you say choking?
Yeah, absolutely. I was shocked. I thought for sure. I mean, Phoenix started off the game exactly like we were talking about. It looked headed for a blowout, and then all of a sudden, Bucks came back and they took control.
Well, game 4, they had the game under control until the last 2 minutes against Milwaukee, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. Come home in game 5, which is, as we talked about before the game, it's it's a crucial game when two teams are tied at 2. The winner of the game 5 is the winner of usually the series overall. They were up, 16 points at the end of the first quarter and ended up allowing 43 points in quarter number 2. Did they play defense or did they just watch Milwaukee?
No, it was amazing. I mean, like I said, I thought the game was headed exactly where we thought it was, and then it headed the other way. And now what I find interesting, one, why do we keep having 3 days off in between games? That's,
stretching it out so they can advertise it.
Yeah, I guess.
Hoping they can find a way to make the ratings go up.
And now what I find intriguing is if you really want to take the Suns tomorrow at plus 160, you can take the Suns to win the whole thing at like plus 360. Don't you think if the Suns are going to steal one in Milwaukee, if you even think that, they should be able to win game 7 in Phoenix. But then again,
they should be able to win a game when they got a 16-point lead with 3 quarters to go.
Exactly. But maybe, I don't know what happened. It was very frustrating for somebody that wanted Phoenix to win and had Phoenix.
Well, I've never been the greatest Chris Paul fan. And it seems to me, he's not ever won anything. This is the first time he's been in the finals. And it seems like the reaction from other players from other teams is he's maybe a 50-50 dislike. You like him when he's on your team, but you can't stand him when he's not on your team kind of guy, right? So for me, looking at these games, it almost looks to me like Milwaukee has decided that we're going to let Devin Booker get his, right? Because we can't stop the guy. But what we're going to do is we think that if we man up against the other people, the Jay Crowders, the Andre Aytons, the Chris Pauls, we can't stop them. So go ahead. You have your fun, Devin. You score 40. But the rest of you guys, you ain't going to do nothing. And it seems to me that's kind of the mentality Milwaukee's taken, because when you look at the box score, that's what you see. Devin Booker's got his. Everybody else is struggling. That tells me they've made a decision to go ahead and try to lock everybody else down.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll try it again in game 6.
Yeah, well, they better come up with something different for sure. So, all right. So that's basketball. Let's go off across the pond, as they say, over to England, where they had a golf tournament this weekend, the British Open. And on Wednesday, we made some picks before the tournament started. We gave out 9, so we lost 5 of them. So we had, in terms of record, we were 4-5, but that's not really how we keep score, right? We keep score on profits and losses. That's how everybody keeps score. And we actually hit on 4 of them. We had Grillo finish 6th or 12th, I think he finished. We had him in the top 40 at plus 275. That was a plus. We had Colin Morikawa in the top 10. He actually won. And the crazy thing about that is when I did my rankings, he was actually number 1 on my rankings. Should have played him to win instead. So, I mean, that's
what was his odds before the tournament?
I think it was like plus 1,400 or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it was up there. I mean, the favorite was John Rahm. We lost on him, but he still finished, I think, tied for second or third. Daniel Berger in the top 10 was our biggest hit, was plus 400. He finished 8th. That was a nice one. And then Patrick Reed missing the cut at plus 275. And if Bryson, who we also were hoping would miss the cut, if he would have been 1 stroke worse on Monday, on Thursday or Friday, he would have missed the cut. But woulda, shoulda, coulda, right? That's the bettors. That's the bettors' worst nightmare. Woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Yeah, but those were some good picks by you. The one I like that you said about that answer finishing in the top 30. I don't know where he exactly.
No, he didn't make the top 30. He's one of the losers. He was in the top 30 going into Sunday, or like right on the borderline. And I mean on Saturday, but he had a tough Saturday. He had an okay Sunday, but Saturday kind of knocked him out of that contention. He would need to have a good round on Sunday, but he wasn't far off. I think he finished at like number 43 or something like that. It's the answer, 59th, but that's only 2 strokes away from being in the top 30. So if you had two better holes, we would have hit that one too. But hey, I'll take plus 630. Like if you put $100 on each one, you'd be up $630. That's not bad.
No, and you get a lot of value in golf with all the players and different types of bets as well. So,
well, when we bring up the Moneyline Madmen website, I know it's kind of like way off there. It's like the Death Star, whatever in Star Wars. It's this mystical place, but it is coming for sure. And I'm going to be working on it all night tomorrow and get it up, hopefully ready to go for Wednesday or Thursday this week. We'll get it launched. And then we'll put up our fantasy golf rankings and our golf ratings, and then you can maybe go ahead and pick some winners, some bets, some lines, and see if we can continue to find some winners in the PGA Tour throughout the rest of the year. But let's talk about today. What's done is done. Let's see what's to come. We have Major League Baseball today, which is the only sport really running today, right? I don't see really much else going.
Yeah, nothing.
Even my soccer's not going today. Yeah, but it will be back tomorrow, and there'll be some positive plus lines, I think, that we will be able to take. Like the U.S. tomorrow, I think, is a plus 140 line. I think they'll win that game, but I'll do my math on it tomorrow, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. But today, let's get cracking with the Minnesota Twins visiting the Chicago White Sox in the first of 2 games in a doubleheader today. And that one's about to kick off in a little bit, so if you're going to put any action on this game, you might want to do it right away. What are you thinking, Sean?
So what I did with this is I just put the White Sox with another team tonight for a parlay just to win. I didn't make it an official bet. It's too close to when we end and to put it up. But White Sox have Lance Lynn pitching, and Minnesota has Jack Griffin, plus the White Sox at home, just a better team. You're not getting much value. That's why I had to put them with another team, which I'll talk about later when we get to that game. And you get plus value at that way.
I just about tried to do the run line here, but the run line is minus 105, minus 106 for the White Sox. And I was going to start the show with saying there are rules, and then there are exceptions to rules.
I was going to say that might be because this should not be a close game. Like we always say, I still think the Twins are overvalued in their odds every game.
Well, I think it's because it's a 7-inning game. I feel like if it were a 9-inning game, the line would be even bigger. So it's one of those things where you get a lead and you can maybe hold it. But the pitcher, Griffin Jacks, he's been lit up in his 2 starts for Minnesota. And Lance Lynn, as you mentioned, they just extended him. But when you look at him at home here in Chicago, he's been dominant at Chicago White Sox Park, whatever it's called, U.S. Cellular, whatever moniker they put on there now. Always known around here as Comiskey Park, but he, whereas Barack Obama called it Kaminsky, because he's from here. But anyway, the Lance Lynn dominates here in Chicago. I feel like the White Sox blow this game wide open right away. Lance Lynn probably makes it 6-7 innings, maybe a complete short game. In my own account, it's not an official bet because I can't take a negative run line on the show. It's against the rules, but I am going to run line the White Sox here in my account.
Yeah, I mean, when you said it, I thought it would be like minus 130, minus 140, minus 105 is not bad. I might do the same thing in my personal account.
Yeah, if it moves to like to 100, I'm gonna be all over it, and I'll be texting out, "Yes, this is an official." All right. So, next up on the board are the Miami Marlins, the Fish, versus the Washington's baseball team. John Lester on the mound, and it's undecided for Miami. But I think I read earlier in the day that Trevor Rogers is going to pitch.
That was the case, but now I just clicked on it and it says Ross Detweiler again. So they switched it. So
does that matter?
Well, Rogers is a lot better of a pitcher.
But I mean,
I'm
they're
not gonna
facing
go,
Lester.
Yeah, I'm not going to go either way on this one. I don't trust either one of these teams. Rogers was interesting earlier, but I still wouldn't go against it because Washington's bats seem to be heating up as well. So
yeah, Washington's definitely hitting the ball better. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were in all the games this past weekend, so I suspect that, I don't know, Miami's pretty poor against left-handed pitcher, but I mean, right now, John Lester's clearly past his prime. He's serviceable because you can eat up some innings, let everybody else get some rest, but I mean, he's not the top-line pitcher that he was, unfortunately, but he's still one of Chicago's favorites because of what he did here when the Cubs broke their 100 and some odd year curse. Boston and Toronto. You've Pivetta versus Stripling. Right now, looking at the bets, the majority of the money and the tickets are on the Blue Jays. But as far as Moneyline is concerned, the majority of the folks are on the Red Sox getting a run and a half.
Oh, yeah, this is another one I could see go either way. Not something I could cement in, and not even something I'm going to play in my personal account.
Well, you're not thinking straight, Sean.
Uh-oh, you got it?
This is an official play for me today. Okay, let's take a look at Pivetta against the Toronto Blue Jays or the Tampa Bay Blue Jays or the Buffalo Blue Jays, wherever they are. I know they're going to be returning home soon, but in his last 3 games against Toronto, he's given up 6, 5, and 5. Lifetime against the Toronto Blue Jays, 7.06 ERA. He struggled against the Blue Jays. Now, of course, Stripling is not going to be ever considered for the Cy Young, but he's pitched considerably better against the Red Sox than his counterpart has against Toronto. And then when you look at the offense, I mean, Toronto has just been lights out. They're number 1 in OPS at home. I mean, these guys got some, they're hitting the ball hard. I expect this game to be a high-scoring game. Bullpens are about the same. I expect a high-scoring game here, and I expect the Blue Jays to score not 1, but maybe 2 or 3 more runs than the Red Sox over the weekend against the Yankees. Boston had a very difficult time stringing some hits together, and it wasn't against the best pitching that the Yankees have to offer. So maybe the Red Sox are in one of those little post All-Star swoons. I'm going to money line. I'm going to run line Toronto, and I get that at I think about plus 140. So that's my play right there.
Okay.
You sure you're not going to put in your account now?
No. I'm still not.
Not a believer, huh?
I'm convinced in you, and I like your argument. I don't trust either one of these teams enough.
I get it. You're not a believer, right? You're not from the monkeys. New York Mets, Cincinnati Reds. This is a game I find kind of interesting because you have a kind of a juxtaposition of strengths here. The Mets are one of the better road pitching teams, and Cincinnati's one of the better home hitting teams. So if you like pitching, you're probably on the Mets. If you think hitting is going to dominate, you're probably on Cincinnati.
Yeah, so I'm not going either way here, neither. I might have bad taste in my mouth here with the Reds against the Brewers. Their bullpen is just horrible. So if the Mets keep this close and it comes into the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, Mets are going to win this game.
All right. So right now it looks like, as far as the bets are concerned, about 2 out of every $3 and 2 out of every 3 bets are on the Reds at minus 115. So betting public, the smart money, so to speak, feels like the Reds are the play. And then we're going to go with Baltimore against Tampa Bay. For me, I can't even touch this game on any way. You got a minus 135 on the run line, minus 250. This is one of those games like you talked about where you just toss it in to a parlay just to get a plus 30 boost because it's a gimme, although there's no such thing.
Yeah, actually, I would be afraid to take Tampa Bay here. Spencer Watkins has been pretty good for Baltimore, and he's got a lot of potential.
Hmm.
So actually, if you want to go anywhere, I find it intriguing with Baltimore with the 1.5, and you're still getting a positive line.
Yeah. Well,
Um, I'm not
yeah,
gonna, I'm not that I'm making an official play. I might dabble on it, a couple dollars on it on my personal account,
we'll
but
do it. Make it
yeah,
official play. Come on. Step
no,
up.
no, not that I'm making an official play, but I do find there are a lot of value here with Spencer Watkins going.
All right. Next game, I think, is a Kansas City versus Detroit, a matchup of some of the best young pitchers in baseball.
Uh,
Oh no,
Texas.
Texas. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Gibson versus Mize. Mize, this kid is, if you haven't heard about him, from Detroit, he's lights out.
So this is an official play for me. I'm taking Detroit minus 110 on the money line. Texas has lost 5 in a row, and they've been outscored 42-7. Kyle Gibson is a really good pitcher, but he did face Detroit on July 7th, and he went 6 1/3 innings and gave up 5 earned runs. That was actually matched up versus Mize, and Mize went 4 innings and only gave up 2 runs. Wish he would have, get more innings out of him, but he didn't get lit up. Texas lost 2 out of 3 versus Detroit already, and that was in Texas earlier this month. And Texas is one of the worst teams in the league record-wise. They are the worst team versus right-handed pitchers. They're 18-42 versus right-handers, and they're 13-33 on the road. Detroit's 24-22 at home, and they just swept the Twins, so they're on a 3-game winning streak. So
they're feeling good.
Yeah, so I like Detroit here.
All right. Well, looking at the way the money's being bet, about 60% of the tickets are on the Tigers. They agree with you, but only 56% of the money, 56 cents out of every dollar, it looks like, is on Detroit right now. So the money is a little bit slanted towards, if you will, the smart money towards the Rangers in this spot. But I agree with you. Detroit's definitely playing better. It's, I think last month they had actually a winning record, or at least played 500 baseball. They look like a team that's ascending, and Texas just looks like a mess. So I would definitely lean towards the Tigers as well. San Diego, Yu Darvish in Atlanta, in what I think is truly a 50-50 game.
Yeah, I mean, I would lean San Diego here. You got Darvish going. You got the better team. San Diego's bats are really heating up right now.
Yeah, they're scoring runs like they're playing football.
Yeah, Atlanta's not going to be able to keep up with scoring runs, especially with Darvish going. So if Darvish can have a 5-6 inning game, give up only 1 or 2 runs, San Diego should win this. Not an official play, but I like San Diego here.
Yeah, looking at my numbers on that game in terms of Atlanta versus San Diego, and I know they're a little bit different now because Acuna's not in the lineup, but Atlanta actually has the home way power advantage. And it's a 50-50 game in terms of run line differential. I mean, it's 49.999 versus 50.001. So it's a 50-50 game. Both teams win over 50% in terms of San Diego on the road, Atlanta at home. Slight favorite, I think, in terms of my simulations for San Diego, but not enough to overcome the line. If I were going to bet anything on this side, I would absolutely be on the side of Atlanta, but I don't trust them as much, minus Acuna. If Acuna was in the lineup, you probably wouldn't get the same number here, but I would definitely be on the Braves. But without him, I can't. Houston and Cleveland. Cleveland looks like they're kind of crashing, and Houston, they had a tough time here in Chicago after getting the first one with a lot of runs.
Yeah, so this is actually my other part of my Chicago White Sox parlay. I just took the Houston money line with them. There's no value doing it yourself, and I don't want to give up a 1.5. Houston's just a better team, and also the pitching matchup's really lopsided here. Zach Greinke versus J.C. Maya.
Yeah, Greinke can be a little bit spotty, though. There are times where he doesn't feel like pitching, I think.
And there are times he's overvalued, too, where Houston's favorite big time because he's on the mound. And like you said, he doesn't show up with his stuff. I'll also say Cleveland did take 2 out of 3 against Oakland and burned me a couple times there. But I like Houston in this spot to win. I did 2-team parlay. I did Houston and Chicago on my personal account.
And what'd you get on that?
Did
you get a plus line, or is it?
I did get a plus line, yes.
All right. So looking at the money on that game, approximately 40% of the money, the bets are on Cleveland. But when you look at the money, it's broken down about 85 cents out of the dollar is on the Astros. So the Astros are taking the money. The smart money's all over the Astros. And that makes me wonder, though, if a lot of people are betting them, the smart money is betting minus 220. Why do I have minus 167 as like a cutoff point? I guess a win is a win, right?
Yeah, it's just the value you're getting in over time. You know, they start losing at that time. It's not going to take many losses for you to lose money.
No, well, that's true. You lose money. You're going to lose a full amount, and if you're minus 200, you're only going to get 50 cents on the dollar back.
So it was plus 105 for my parlay with the two teams together.
That'll work. They got the second game between Minnesota and Chicago. You got Barrios on the mound, and I think the White Sox, last time I looked in that line, were catching a plus line, plus 110.
Yeah, well, their pitcher ain't announced again, so I hate betting games without the pitcher announced. But I'd have a hard time taking Minnesota here.
I would have a hard time too, even at a negative line.
It'd be
they could throw us out there and we might have a shot.
It'd be intriguing to take the White Sox, but it's just so risky not knowing who they're going to throw out there.
Well, just to give you a sense of how the action is going, the White Sox are getting the majority of the tickets, but damn near all the money in terms of the money line is on the Twins. So the betting public, and not the smart money, so to speak, is all over Twins in game two.
That scares you. Like they might know who's pitching for the White Sox, and he must not be a very good pitcher.
Maybe it is me. That would be pretty funny. That would be here. I'd probably be. Can you imagine standing in the batter's box and someone throwing a ball at you 100 miles an hour? I mean, I'm in the batting cages, like on the fast, and that's maybe going like 65 miles an hour. And anyone that's up and in, it makes me a little bit nervous.
Oh yeah.
The ones that are off and away, and it takes a couple seconds to get your timing, but that's 60 miles an hour. Never mind 50% faster. I probably wouldn't be able to. I've seen it, and you've probably seen it in the batting cages when people go into the fast one for the first time, where the ball hits the mat, so you hear that sound from the ball hitting the mat, and then you see the person swing, right?
Yeah, so exactly.
Imagine at 95 miles an hour, what that might be like. It would be on the way back to the pitcher when I swing. People would think I'm taking a practice swing when really I was trying to swing at the pitch.
And when you stand in there, you don't even trust the machine, let alone that person throwing the ball that fast at you.
Especially because they can play with you, right? They can throw it up under your chin, and and because they have a lot of control, and at least some do, and that would really freak me out. That would be kind of scary to me. I wouldn't want to be any part of that. That's for sure. Anyway, sidetracked a little bit there. So now we're the Cubs, who went down and dominated Arizona, as I guess they probably should. Now they're coming back to the Midwest to play against their rivals, the St. Louis Cardinals. And Cubs right now are taking in, majority of the bets are on the Cardinals, but the majority of the money is on the Cubs.
Yeah, so I don't trust either team to make a bet. I would, if I was going to go with one, I'd go with the Cardinals over the Cubs, though. Everything's even. Cardinals at home, Cubs on the road. You can't really trust the Cubs the rest of the year.
Yeah, I like to me, I think the Cardinals are the right spot here. But the problem for me is, again, we've talked about this before. When I look at the lines, I can tell by some of the math that I do which side of the bet Vegas wants you to take, right? Mm-hmm. Or at least I have a feeling of which.
It would be the same as this morning when I saw the line. I was very surprised that the Cardinals weren't more of a favorite.
Right.
So they wanted you to take
they're actually a discount based upon all the common run differential, power rankings. And like I said before, Vegas knows exactly the way most bettors are evaluating. So you got the qualitative guys who read, and then you got the mathematical people like me who put these models together. They know how our models work. So if there's value, you're supposed to bet the value. Well, when I see them giving value, I know they know what I'm putting my inputs. Maybe some of the way you factor it in, or some of the weightings are a little bit different, but they still know the primary data. So they're saying, look, here's value. Look, here's a cookie, right? Come take the cookie. And whenever I see that makes me always nervous. And right now they're telling you to come take the Cardinal cookie, and I don't want that cookie. I'm not. Although I like cookies. If it's a double stuffed Oreo, you might get me. All right, Pittsburgh who just made. Did you see the whole thing with Marcus Stroman in the Pittsburgh and the Mets?
No.
So he gets an out, Marcus Stroman. He starts chirping at a guy, right? And I don't know, it was Marcus Stroman, like 5'6". I don't know. That's what he looked like relative to everybody else on the field. And he's chirping at him, but he's hiding behind his catcher. And then, the teams come out, they do their customary, how are you? And they're pushing each other, like a soccer fight. No punches are thrown or anything like that. And then in the course of it, the dude, I don't know, he hurt his stomach, had to go to the bathroom. I don't know what he did, but he runs off the field, Marcus Stroman, after mouthing off. And then the next thing, he's running off the field while the rest of the guys are all jawing at each other still. I find that kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, that's your baseball fight there. That's pretty typical.
Hey, looks like the young man, he agrees with us that Marcus Stroman shouldn't run off the field. But in any case, Pittsburgh did play very well against the New York Mets. Now they go on the road against Arizona. This is the 100 I Need Help series. You like anything here?
Yeah, so I need 1-800-NEED-HELP because I like Arizona. Pittsburgh 7-15 versus left-handed pitching. And Arizona has a decent pitcher going. Caleb Smith's pretty good. I mean, his ERA is over 4, but he's been decent. And Arizona at home's decent compared to the road. So Pittsburgh's horrible on the road. So,
well, oddly, they both win about the same percent. Arizona wins at about 35% of their games at home, and they win about a third. Pittsburgh on the road. I was leaning towards Arizona too here. This is a Vegas special where you got a negative on both sides, right? But Pittsburgh actually has the away power ranking advantage, although Arizona has a major run differential advantage. You're getting a little bit of a discount on the run differential, which again is not a lot, but still Vegas is kind of egging you on to take Arizona. So if they're egging me on to take Arizona, I don't want to take Arizona. Looking at the money in that game right now, the tickets are literally, the run line numbers are 50-50, but 99% of the money is on Arizona minus 1.5. That's pretty good, right? So that's a plus 150 line. Be interesting to see how that plays out. And then on the game itself, well, right now it looks like the Pirates are 110. Earlier in the day, the game was minus 110 when I looked at it. But 40% of the bets are on the Pirates, 60% of the money, but the majority of the money is actually on the Pirates. So that's kind of interesting to me that 99% of the run line money is on Arizona, but the majority of the money line money is on Pittsburgh. How does that work?
I don't very, very confusing.
Well, maybe they're kind of doing like some kind of weird hedge that I'm unfamiliar with, but I don't know. Angels and Athletics. The Angels right now are taking in about 55% of the bets, and about the money is exactly down the middle, 50-50 between the struggling Oakland A's and the Los Angeles Angels with Ohtani on the mound. That's probably why there's so much action, since they're trying to make a big star of this guy Ohtani.
Yeah, and that's why I've had a difficult time with this game, because you don't get much value when he pitches. And he's a really good pitcher, but there's times too he gets hit. I mean, he's not unhittable. Oakland is struggling. They're 5-8 in their last 13, where the Angels are the opposite. They're 8-5 in their last 13. Oakland is 7-3 versus the Angels this year. So that was my difficult part too. It looks like the Oakland dominates the Angels, but the Angels are going better than the A's right now. So I kept going back and forth. I couldn't decide on which one.
This is real close to an Oakland bet for me, because they are dominant in terms of home away power rankings. It's one of the biggest outside the White Sox, Minnesota. It's one of the biggest run line differential that I see on the ticket today. Just a little bit too much of I would like to see the line minus 115 looks like a sucker's bet to me a little bit. They're like saying, hey, look, you can get Oakland pretty cheap, but I don't know. It's to me, it's close to me on Oakland, but I'm gonna pass. Which brings us to the last game of the day. Hey, and it's the marquee game of the night, right? It could be an NLCS matchup: the San Francisco Giants versus the LA Dodgers. And if the Dodgers are going to go ahead and take the division, like you said when we were talking about futures, this is where they got to start, right here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really good pitching matchup. I didn't get a handle on either one to play to win the under intrigued me, but it's kind of low. And if I would bet anything, I'd probably bet the under here. But I'm not going to do it.
It's probably going to be a low-scoring game, but you never know, right? The Dodgers one of the last times we thought they'd be in a low-scoring game, scored 20. But
yeah, and they can. I mean, their bats are heating up, so it's scary to take a low number. But this is a good pitching matchup.
Great pitching matchup. But I this is my second play of the day. Right now, Gausman is 1-3 lifetime versus LA. He's got a 3.82 ERA against the Dodgers, which is kind of on the higher end for him. He's given up 16 runs in 30 and 2/3 innings pitched at Dodger Stadium. His WHIP is above his career average there, so he's struggling. I mean, that's probably because the Dodgers are one of the better teams, right? I mean, that accounts for the higher statistics than he would face against lesser competition. Goslin has pitched well, but he's only pitched 5 innings so far against San Francisco. But he's only given up, I think, 1 run in those 5 innings. So he's pitched fairly well against San Francisco. I feel the Dodgers let me down yesterday, though. So it was kind of tough for me to back him today because I had him in my own account. They had the lead going into the 9th. They let the game get tied. They took the lead in the top of the 10th and then gave up 2 runs in the bottom of the 10th. You know, it just makes you want to scream. So you got the number 1 versus number 2 pitching staffs, but the Dodgers behind Toronto are the second best home hitting team in terms of OPS in baseball. It's a low scoring game. I like the Dodgers offense a little bit better, and I'm only going to pay minus 129 or something like that for the Dodgers. So I'm going to take the Dodgers minus 129. And looking at the money, about 60 cents out of every dollar is on the Dodgers, which is up from about 50-50 in terms of splits on the bet. So the smart money is on the Dodgers.
And what I will say too is, we come across these games with Gausman, and his ERA is 1.73. But if you look at his game log and stuff, a lot of times he's given up 2 or 3 runs in 6 innings. So it's not like he's unhittable. I'm actually surprised his ERA is still that low. Most of the guys have ERAs like that. They're only giving up 1 run per night or 0 runs.
He's probably had a couple really good outings. Right?
Yeah,
he gave up 0.
He's definitely not unhittable. So with the Dodgers offense, they should be able to put up some runs.
All right. Well, I think the Dodgers need to just put up 1 more. That's all I'm not asking for a lot. Just 1 more run.
Hey,
and then I'm asking for Toronto to score 2 more runs. So is that asking for too much? 3 runs in baseball? Come on.
Not at all. You've been rolling too. You're plus, I think maybe like plus $50 at this point.
5% on the plus side. I'll take a positive ROI.
I finally went 3 for 4 yesterday. So
you went LL Cool J on everybody, right? Don't call it a comeback.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the Royals, which I liked and you liked.
How do you lose 2 in a row to Baltimore at home? Come on. You should be like in soccer. They have like where if you get relegated down to a lower league. If you lose 2 out of 3 at home to Baltimore, you should be relegated to the minor leagues, and your minor league team comes up to take your place.
And you couldn't hit Matt Harvey at all. I mean, everybody hits Matt Harvey.
Matt Harvey.
I mean, as soon as I saw that was Kansas City all the way because you get Matt Harvey and
he's the one pitcher I might not be afraid to get into the box. Especially if I know what he was doing out the night before.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, so those are my picks. I got Toronto, the money run line minus 1.5. I think that's plus 140. And then I'm taking the Dodgers minus 1, I think it was 25, 24, something like that against San Francisco. Those are my official plays in my own account. In a little bit, I'm taking the White Sox to run line, Minnesota at home, but that's not an official play. So those are my only 2 plays. And again, what are you running with, Sean?
I got Detroit minus 110 against Texas, money line, and then I got Arizona money line minus 125 against Pittsburgh.
No plus lines for you today?
No plus lines for me.
You're a little chicken, are you?
Yeah, this time maybe. You probably could have. Yeah, there was a couple opportunities, but I went there, try to.
You want to get that win percentage back up. I understand.
Yeah,
I've been there, done that. Like
I got to get back up to 500 here.
Yeah, I understand how that goes. So, all right then, Sean. Well, if people want to follow us, I promise you that soon I will have the website up for Moneyline Madmen. We're going to build a great community. We'll have a lot of fun. We'll talk a lot about sports. We'll share some of our insights, some of the tricks that we've learned, some of the things I've learned work, don't work. Same with Sean. Of course, we want to learn from you as well. That's one of the great things that's happened for Sean and I with the horse racing radar. when we're talking with jockeys and trainers and owners and announcers and journalists that are around the sport. We've learned so much that's helped us with our handicapping. We're hoping to kind of repeat the same thing here, where we can learn a lot and improve our game, right? Because we want to beat the house in Vegas. So outside of the non-existent website that'll eventually get here, Sean, where can people follow us?
Facebook and Twitter, Moneyline Madman. Just come on, have a conversation. I know some people ask them, we can maybe add this if they can call in or come on. Maybe we can add that down the line.
I think I could create a call-in number. I'm not sure if I could hear it, though. I can use my Google Voice number, but I'm not 100% sure it would come through the computer on the screen. So maybe we can try that on, maybe you and I can get together in off time. You could call me on Google Voice, see if we can hear ourselves talk. We can go through that. But another thing you can do too, two things you can do. One, you can subscribe and hit the bell. So when we come on, you'll be notified right away. And you guys heard that so many times. It's almost kind of cliche to repeat it, but do that. It's important. And then secondly, however it is you communicate, by Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, if you do dancing your messages on TikTok, or do you use an old-fashioned phone with a rotary like Sean does, let your friends know about us. If you like our picks, like Sean said, have a positive ROI. We kicked some rear end in the golf tournament this weekend. Sean will be back. He was hot yesterday. So I think we're not expecting to be perfect, but we want to be prepared. So tell your friends about us.
And we're not going to lie to you and say we go 100-0. I mean, all our picks are tracked and all our picks are on YouTube. You can see them all. You can see those picks for the golf last Wednesday that Rich made, and
it's all out there. And soon with the website too, we put on the Google Sheets our actual official show plays, and you'll see our ROIs and our wins and losses. So everything is going to be on the up and up. The folks who just tell you what to pick, but they haven't really shown you how they've performed. Yeah, maybe they have all their past shows on the website, but they're not showing you how their picks worked. There's a reason why they tell you they don't have their history readily available for you. Believe me when I tell you that. All right, Sean, that wraps up this Monday. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll have basketball, we'll have baseball, and we'll have Gold Cup soccer, and maybe even an MLS play, but I haven't looked at it. We're going to try to make soccer great again.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, I'll be watching even more sports. Hillary will love that. I mean,
yeah. That always goes over well at home.
Yeah, I mean, wait till football season. Saturday and Sunday is just college football and pro football are my thing. In front of the TV all day long.
Yeah, not me. All right, Sean. I will. I'll see you tomorrow this time, folks. Until then, may all your bets, of course, be winners.